You think sardines are one of the healthiest foods on the planet? And they can be, but only if the can itself isn't undoing the benefits. Hidden inside some popular brands are packaging chemicals and sodium levels that can quietly raise your blood pressure or mess with hormone balance over time. Today, we're exposing 7 cans that might belong more in the trash than your pantry, and showing you which ones are genuinely safe to eat. Number 1. Cinta. You think saving $1 on sardines means you've found a smart buy, but this label hides a chemical trade-off your heart might not forgive. Cinta shows up in discount racks and value packs, promising good protein for pocket change. It's the kind of brand that seems made for families stretching grocery budgets. On the surface, that makes sense. Sardines are rich in omega-3s, low in mercury, and shelf-stable. But the secret cost of that low price isn't on the sticker. It's sealed inside the metal. Cheaper cans often rely on older linings that still use BPA substitutes like BPS. These chemicals were marketed as safer, yet scientists classify them as endocrine disruptors that can act like weak hormones. In oily foods, the problem grows worse. The oil works almost like a solvent, drawing those compounds out of the lining faster, especially when the can is heated under pressure during packing. Industry groups call these coatings food safe. Yet independent lab tests have detected measurable traces of bisphenols leaching into canned fish exposed to high heat processing. Researchers saw that even when BPA was removed, its chemical cousins behaved the same way. Unstable when stressed, prone to migration. You can't taste it or see it, but it's there in trace form, entering your body the next time you crack the lid. Add to that the salt factor. Budget sardines like Cinta often contain twice the sodium of premium tins. That excess isn't only about flavor. It's an inexpensive way to preserve texture over long storage. But it pushes blood pressure higher, erasing the heart protective edge those natural fish oils are supposed to offer. Here's the truth. When you pay less for Cinta, you're not cutting corners on taste. You're gambling with chronic chemical exposure and sodium overload. Over time, that bargain can strain your arteries and dull every benefit sardines were meant to give. Now, the next brand shows how a foreign label can disguise similar shortcuts. Number 2. Sefresh. With a name like Sefresh, you'd expect purity. But inside that blue label lies more sodium than many processed soups, hitting your body long before flavor ever does. Sefresh has built a calm, healthy image. Its design looks like a postcard from the coast, clean waves and simple fonts suggesting a natural product. Many shoppers see that and assume they're buying a wholesome import, a safer choice than heavily processed meals. But the truth comes when you flip the can. The sodium count jumps off the label, turning that pretty blue branding into a quiet warning sign. Those Sea Pure promises depend on a brine mixture that's anything but simple. To hold texture and color for months, producers load the packing liquid with salt and minor preservatives. The heavy brine slows spoilage but also draws moisture and key nutrients right out of the fish over time. The longer those sardines sit in storage, the more their natural minerals and omega-3 oils fade, leaving behind firm flesh but weaker nutrition. That's how the shelf life stretches while the food's real value shrinks. Long-term, that sodium has consequences. Studies have shown that steady high intake can stiffen arteries, especially in older adults. Stiff arteries mean the heart must push harder with each beat, raising blood pressure and raising risk for heart disease or stroke. What's deceptive is how quietly that damage builds. No symptom until the strain has already taken hold. Sefresh likes to spotlight omega-3s and wild sourcing on the front label, terms that sound reassuring. But details about sodium and additives hide deep in the fine print. It's a marketing sleight of hand that lets the health halo shine while the numbers stay buried out of sight. The payoff is clear. Sefresh's clean name may hide a salty burden that blocks the very heart benefits sardines are supposed to deliver. And the next brand shows that even homegrown favorites can slip into the same pattern. Number 3. HS brand. This tin looks sturdy, but the real issue isn't the fish. It's the film. HS brand looks like any other grocery shelf sardine. Dependable, mass-produced, and built for volume. Its price stays low because its production lines run hot and fast, using older canning systems that haven't always kept up with modern safety updates. The fish inside may be fine, but the trouble starts with the lining that seals it. When a can goes through high heat sealing, the resin coating, the thin plastic film used to stop metal from touching food, can break down. Older lines often use coatings that contain BPA or its chemical relatives. These compounds can release when heated under pressure, and once that happens, they travel straight into the oil that surrounds the sardines. Because sardines are both acidic and oily, they're a perfect carrier for these leached chemicals. It's the same kind of process that makes oil dissolve stubborn residue off a pan. Except here it's pulling artificial compounds into your meal. Food contact studies comparing oil and water-based foods confirm this difference. When exposed to heat, oily foods draw bisphenol compounds far faster than water-based products. That reaction turns time and temperature into risk factors you'd never notice from the outside. You open the tin thinking you're getting clean protein, yet the lining has already shared a hidden chemical load that your body doesn't need. And there's no easy way for you to detect it. You can't smell it, can't taste it, and can't see any warning until you start reading the small print on the back label. The catch is, HS brand doesn't advertise any BPA-free status, leaving you to guess what's actually in the coating. Without that claim, there's no guarantee its cans were made with updated materials rather than cheaper, older stock. Bottom line, HS brand's real unknown isn't in the fish itself, it's in the film keeping it sealed. Now, the next brand goes all in on flavor but falls short where safety should stand firm. Number 4. King Cup. The word king on the label promises premium quality, but here the crown covers an overdose of sodium. King Cup earns shelf space by boasting bold flavor, spicy chili, thick tomato sauce, or a strong oil blend that hits right away. It's easy to see the appeal. You open a can and the aroma feels richer than plain sardines. For quick rice or toast, it's an instant meal that seems hearty and satisfying. But that flavor power comes with a heavy salt price. Those same chili and tomato sauces that make it taste bold are loaded with sodium. A plain sardine in olive oil might sit at a moderate salt level, yet a sauced King Cup can easily triple it. All that salt doesn't just boost taste, it hides the middling fish quality underneath. Strong seasonings can mask rough texture, mild off flavors, or older stock that's been stored too long before packing. The spicy burn distracts from what the fish itself has lost. The mix gets even more concerning when you factor in packaging. Older or inconsistent linings plus high sodium create a double hit. Salt raises blood pressure on its own, while questionable coatings may leach trace bisphenols when stored in heat. It's like pulling the rug out from under your heart. Two different routes leading to the same stress. For seniors, it's a clear warning flag. Heart health guidance advises staying under tight daily sodium limits. Yet one serving from a heavily sauced brand like King Cup can push past them fast. The salt doesn't just come from the sauce. Phosphate blends and flavor carriers bump the total even higher. Over time, that adds pressure to arteries that can't afford the strain. Here's the truth. In King Cup's tins, flavor intensity stands in for freshness. It's salt wearing a crown, turning a healthy fish into a high-risk bite for anyone watching their blood pressure. Now we move to another label that uses bold sauces as its selling point, only with even less transparency behind it. Number 5. Lucky Star Sardine. Lucky Star sardines have built a reputation as a household staple across Africa and beyond. An affordable, protein-packed meal that stood the test of time. But beneath the familiar blue and red label lies a story of both nutrition and caution. On the positive side, Lucky Star offers all the classic benefits sardines are known for. Dense omega-3 fatty acids that protect the heart, calcium from soft edible bones that strengthen joints, and clean protein that supports muscle health. It's a convenient food that lasts for months on the shelf and provides real nourishment in regions where fresh fish isn't always available. Yet the same can that makes Lucky Star so practical can also raise quiet concerns. Like many mass-produced sardines, some versions use tomato or chili sauces loaded with sodium, which can silently counteract the fish's heart protective edge. High salt levels preserve flavor and extend shelf life, but they also increase blood pressure over time, an issue for anyone eating them regularly. Then there's the question of packaging. While Lucky Star has made efforts to modernize its canning process, Not every batch or regional variant clearly states if the lining is free from BPA or its chemical cousins. These compounds can migrate into oily foods during high heat sterilization, subtly introducing endocrine-disrupting agents into the diet. Add in the risk of nutrient loss from overprocessing, and you get a food that's still valuable but not flawless. Lucky Star remains a better choice than ultra-processed snacks or sugary meals, yet it rewards the mindful eater who checks labels for lower sodium versions, prefers sardines in water or olive oil, and doesn't rely on them as a daily staple. In short, Lucky Star can be a blessing on your plate, so long as you treat it with the same care it once promised your health. Number 6. TC Boy. This brand sells itself on comfort and nostalgia, but the safety math doesn't add up for long-term eaters. TC Boy has been a familiar sight across Southeast Asia for decades, with its bright label and soft-edge logo that trigger memories of quick lunches and late-night snacks. It's known for being convenient, reliable, and low in mercury, a point that keeps health-minded shoppers at ease. But the real risk hides in how those cans are treated before they reach your shelf. The canning system used is called a retort process, where sealed tins are cooked under high heat to kill bacteria. It's an effective way to sterilize food, but it creates a new kind of hazard. When can linings rely on older resin coatings? That heat can release BPA or similar compounds into the oil that surrounds the fish. Even though sardines themselves contain little mercury, the chemical exposure can grow each time the can goes through more temperature stress during production, shipping, or storage. Oil is a strong carrier for these compounds. The higher the temperature during sterilization, the easier it becomes for the oil to pull those chemicals out of the lining and into the food. Over time, this reaction leaves small chemical traces that you'll never taste or see. The US FDA has noted that packaging materials can degrade as they age, a process that accelerates with high storage temperatures or when products sit too long on the shelf. Once those polymer layers weaken, more residue ends up where you don't want it, inside the food itself. In tropical climates, cans often face even more heat during transport or while waiting in non-refrigerated warehouses. That makes old coatings break down faster, multiplying the risk before the can ever reaches your kitchen. Bottom line, TC Boy's dependable flavor and familiar branding mask, a packaging issue that robs sardines of their clean, safe promise. Next up, a North American name shows how bold taste can hide the very same danger. Number 7. Clover Leaf, garlic, chive, smoked jalapeno. Flavors that jump out of the can. But the numbers on the back tell a darker story. Clover Leaf has earned its spot in countless North American pantries, loved for bold flavors and dependable quality. The garlic and chive version feels savory and rich, while the smoked jalapeno tin adds a spicy kick that livens up plain crackers or rice. It's the perfect shortcut to a quick, tasty meal, especially when you don't want to cook. But that instant satisfaction hides the same kind of risk that's crept into too many convenience foods. Behind the flavor, salt takes center stage. These seasoned mixes rely on sodium-packed sauces to boost taste and preserve texture. Salt doesn't just make the dish tasty, it stabilizes moisture, enhances color, and masks metallic notes from the can. But it also drives numbers that climb far beyond what most people expect from a small tin. Additives like sodium phosphates and flavor carriers amplify the total, pushing one serving closer to an entire day's recommended sodium limit for older adults. That means a snack meant to support heart health ends up challenging it instead. Then there's the can itself. Across Clover Leaf's product lines, BPA-free labeling remains inconsistent or missing altogether. When a brand doesn't clearly state if its linings are free from BPA or replacements like BPS, you're left guessing what's in contact with the food. Those compounds can migrate into oily mixtures, especially during sterilization. Over years of steady use, that quiet exposure adds yet another question mark to what should be a clean source of protein. Heart Association guidance warns that flavored convenience foods like these often drive long-term hypertension. It's the mix of sodium and hidden chemical risk that turns convenience into compromise. So you have to ask, does quick flavor ever justify undoing a fish's natural nutrition? Bottom line, Clover Leaf's garlic and jalapeno tins excel in taste, but trade away heart safety and packaging certainty, closing the circle of 7 hidden sardine dangers that demand a second look before you buy. Choosing a sardine isn't just about the fish, It's about the armor it comes in. The safest cans protect you as much as the food inside. Always check for a clear BPA-free label, lower sodium counts, and healthy oils like water or extra virgin olive oil. These simple choices protect long-term heart health and cut chemical exposure that builds quietly over time. Premium brands investing in safer packaging don't just preserve flavor. They defend your body's balance each time you open a can. Subscribe now and stay informed, so your pantry supports your health instead of secretly working against it.